And I caught Cookie. Cookie is a feral cat that has been hanging around the barn and picking on our already domesticated barn cats. So I wanted to get him to the veterinarians, have him fixed, make sure he has the vaccinations that he needs, and that he didn't have any illnesses. Here is beautiful Fabio. He is approaching the cat cage because he's very curious. And as Cookie is in the vet's office, the horses were feeling very energetic and they were running around like beautiful horses. And Delgado, our German Shepherd, loves to bark up and down the fence line, chasing the horses. And of course, after a good play, the horses almost have a good roll and then head for the shelter and stand under the shade. And before going to the vet's office to pick up Cookie, I wanted to give Meowth some attention and just let him know that I wasn't going to ignore him just because there was a new cat in town. So this is the second day after Cookie has come home from being neutered. I did not film letting him out of the live trap when I first got him home just because it was more important to me that he had a secure and pleasant experience getting out of the live bait trap. Now here he is on the third day of having him, and I actually get to pet him. This is my very first petting of Cookie. It was short and sweet because shortly after I tried to pet him again and he clearly told me no. So I just set my hand back on his food bowl so that I was present as he was eating, so he knows that I'm not a bad person. I'm trying just to take care of him and feed him. Also, Fabio is very interested in Cookie the Pharaoh cat. He just finds him fascinating and wants to know all about him. Unfortunately, Cookie does not share the same opinion as Fabio, so I was trying to move his bowl a little ways from Fabio so that he wasn't disturbed while eating, but he didn't seem to like the idea that I moved his bowl further away, so I put it closer to him again. This is probably the fourth day of me feeding Cookie and trying to get him to realize that I am friend, not foe. But as they say in the world of progress, you will take 1 foot forward and 2 steps back. So as you can see here, I made no progress of petting Cookie the Pharaoh cat today. Knowing that I was only making Cookie more fearful instead of relaxed, I went ahead and left and put out hay. I accidentally dumped the wheelbarrow over, which caused Dream to be very interested in why the wheelbarrow was on its side and not on its wheels. So I decided to sit down and just let her approach the wheelbarrow and realize that it's no big deal. It's just in a different position than it normally is. Leia, our barn cat, came to sit with me. She's normally always in the barn, but since Cookie has come around, I think he has scared her off, so she's been living up at the house. And here we are at day 5, and as you can tell, He looks like a cat that has been defeated, and he's got some anger issues, which I don't blame the poor fella. He has been neutered, he has been vaccinated, he's been picked and poked and pried to find out that he didn't have any cat diseases. He came back perfectly clear. And I also asked the veterinarians to please give him tick and flea treatment to get rid of any pesky bugs that might be crawling on his skin. You know, those things that don't feel so nice when it's being done, but afterwards you're grateful for them. I also didn't try to pet Cookie today. I was just giving him a break so that he could relax. Also, the weather in the week ahead is going to get cool. So I made him this little cat shelter. It's just an old bed sheet and an old saddle blanket. It's actually a very expensive saddle blanket, but it was worth sacrificing for Cookie, just so that I could give him a little shelter where when he sits in here, his warmth would actually stay in the shelter and it would be a little bit more comfortable than just sitting on the hard boards. Yesterday was a rough day. I tried to show Cookie some attention by trying to give him some pets, and he did not like it. He protested and said he wasn't going to eat his food if I continued to try to pet him. Now, with Cookie, I realized that all of his actions that he is showing and the aggression, they are not because he is a mean cat, but just based out of fear. Since Cookie has been locked up in the catio, Leia has started to come back around to the barn. And this morning I was pleasantly surprised to find out that Cookie is using his little cat shelter, which made me feel really nice. And it took me a while to coach him out to eat his food, but today he actually did walk out towards me and eat his cat food, so there is progress. And I will end this week's video with Meowth. Meowth actually started off as a feral cat as well, if you can believe it or not. We have had him for over 7 years now, and we found him when he was probably 4 to 5 months old. He was the oldest cat at the time that we had found as a feral cat. All of our other cats are rescue cats except for Leia, and they were all kittens when they were found, and I just think kittens are way easier to tame when they're feral because they're more accepting, and food is definitely very important. But Meowth was actually in a car motor when we found him. It was in the month of July. It was an electric car, so fortunately there wasn't any moving parts. But when we finally got him out of the car, he took off running, and we wanted to check and make sure that he was okay because my husband actually had drove to the grocery store and back home and said, I keep hearing like a cat. And then I told him that I had heard a cat, and then we lifted up the hood of the van and we saw him, and he took off running. Me and my husband were able to catch him and examine him, and he was not hurt, but he was very wild. And we kept him in a catio as well in our other home. And he took weeks to calm down to where he could finally come up to me and let me pet him. So Meowth is giving me hope that Cookie will come around and he will be just as lovable and sweet as Meowth. Thank you so much for watching, and I will talk to you again next time.